Imagine standing on an African savanna 1 million years ago. The sun is setting, painting the sky blood red. In the distance, you hear the roar of a predator. Closer, much closer. You hear something else, the crack of stone on stone. The murmur of voices, barely recognizable as human. And footsteps. Careful, deliberate footsteps. Those footsteps belong to your ancestors. Not Homo sapiens. We wouldn't appear for another 700,000 years. These are Homo erectus. Walking upright. Using tools. Making fire. Surviving against impossible odds. Every step they took was a gamble with death. Every decision, where to sleep, what to eat, when to run, meant the difference between survival and extinction. They had no maps, no weapons beyond sharpened stones, no understanding of the world beyond what they could see and touch. Yet they survived. They thrived. They spread across continents. They became us. This is their story. A journey of survival measured not in days or years, but in footsteps. Millions upon millions of footsteps, stretching across 1 million years. 1 million years ago, the world was both familiar and utterly alien. Africa, the cradle of humanity, was cooler than today, caught in a cycle of ice ages that gripped the northern hemisphere. The Sahara wasn't a desert, but a patchwork of grasslands and lakes. Vast savannas stretched endlessly, dotted with acacia trees and watering holes that attracted prey and predators alike. And humans? We were not the dominant species. Far from it. Homo erectus, upright man, had been around for nearly 1 million years by this point. They stood about 5.5 feet tall, with prominent brow ridges and a brain roughly 2/3 the size of ours. But that brain was revolutionary. It could plan. It could imagine. It could learn. Picture a small group, perhaps 15 individuals, moving across the landscape. A family unit. Grandparents, parents, children. They travel light because they must. Everything they own, they carry. Their possessions are pitifully few by our standards. Hand axes made from carefully chipped stone, wooden digging sticks, animal hide wrappings, containers made from hollowed gourds. But these simple tools represent something profound, the ability to shape the environment, rather than simply react to it. The group moves in formation. Older males at the front and rear, watchful, alert. Women and children in the middle. Everyone scanning the horizon. Looking for food. Looking for danger. Because danger is everywhere. 1 million years ago, humans were prey as much as predators. Saber-toothed cats prowled the grasslands. Giant hyenas hunted in packs. Lions twice the size of modern ones stalked the watering holes. Even leopards were deadly. Archaeological evidence shows they regularly killed and consumed our ancestors. The group knows this. They've seen death. They've lost family members to predators, to disease, to starvation, to the simple cruelty of nature. So they walk carefully. Every footstep deliberate. Every sense heightened. Survival is not guaranteed. It's earned, moment by moment, day by day.
Food.
Everything revolves around food. Homo erectus were not pure hunters, not yet. They were opportunistic omnivores, eating whatever they could find.
Root, tuber, insectes, eggs, fruits, seed.
And meat when they could get it. But meat was precious. Meat provided calories, protein, fat, everything a growing brain needed. The evolution of human intelligence is directly tied to our ability to obtain and digest meat. The problem? 1 million years ago, humans couldn't effectively kill large animals. Imagine our group spotting a herd of antelope in the distance. They don't have bows and arrows. Those won't be invented for another 930,000 years. They don't have spears with proper points. Those are 400,000 years away. They have wooden sticks, sharpened by fire and stone. They have hand axes. So, how do they hunt? They use the oldest hunting technique. Persistence hunting. Humans have a superpower that no other mammal possesses. We can run long distances in the heat of day. Our bodies are designed for endurance. We sweat to cool ourselves while other animals must stop and pant. We can track prey for hours, even days, following footprints, broken branches, the scent of fear. The hunters, 3 young men, perhaps a woman, single out a weak antelope from the herd. Maybe it's injured. Maybe it's old. They begin to follow. The antelope runs.
Fast.
Much faster than the humans. It disappears over a rise. But the humans don't stop. They read the tracks. They jog, not sprint. Mile after mile, hour after hour, under the blazing sun. The antelope stops to rest. The humans appear. It runs again, now panicked. This continues for 6 hours.
7, 8.
Finally, the antelope's legs buckle. It's dying from heat exhaustion. The humans approach carefully. Even a dying animal can kill. One hunter raises a heavy stone, brings it down on the antelope's skull. They've succeeded. The group has meat. But now comes the dangerous part, butchering and transporting the kill before scavengers and predators arrive. They work quickly, using stone hand axes to slice through hide and muscle. They take the best cuts, organs, fat, meat from the haunches. In the distance, vultures are already circling. A hyena's laugh echoes across the plain. They must move.
Now.
They carry their prize back to the group, constantly looking over their shoulders. Every footstep carrying them toward safety, toward food, toward another day of survival. Night falls on the African savanna, and with night comes terror. Darkness 1,000,000 years ago was absolute. No city lights.
No street lamps.
Just the moon and stars, and on cloudy nights, not even that. In the darkness, humans were vulnerable. Night belonged to predators with superior vision, hearing, and smell. Lions hunted. Leopards stalked. Hyenas circled camps, looking for unguarded children. But humans had discovered something revolutionary: fire. The mastery of fire, not just using it, but making it, was perhaps humanity's greatest achievement. Fire provided light, pushing back the darkness. Fire provided warmth during cold nights. Fire kept predators at bay. Almost no animal will cross a fire line. And fire transformed food. Cooked meat is easier to digest and provides more calories. Cooked tubers become edible. Fire made a wider range of foods accessible. Our group gathers around their fire, carefully maintained throughout the day from embers carried in a horn or hollowed stone. They've built it in a cleared area, away from dry grass. They've arranged large stones in a circle, primitive architecture, but effective. The children huddle close to their mothers. The men take turns on watch, hand axes ready. The elders tend the fire, adding branches carefully, ensuring it never dies. Because if the fire dies, they're exposed. Around the fire, something else happens, something that makes us human. They communicate. Homo erectus had language, probably. Not like ours, perhaps. Simpler, more concrete. But they could share information, where food was found, where dangers lurked, where water could be located. They tell stories through gesture and sound. An old woman demonstrates how she dug up a massive tuber that afternoon, her hands miming the action, her voice making sounds of effort and triumph. The children watch, learning. A young man shows a scar on his leg from a close encounter with a predator months ago. He mimics the attack, the escape. It's not just storytelling, it's survival instruction, knowledge transfer, cultural learning, the foundation of civilization happening around a fire in the African night. But even with fire, sleep is light, interrupted, dangerous. They sleep in shifts, some always alert. Because 1,000,000 years ago, survival never stops. Not even in sleep. Homo erectus didn't stay in Africa. They were wanderers, explorers, survivors. Between 1.8 million and 1 million years ago, groups of Homo erectus began one of the greatest migrations in history. They walked out of Africa and spread across Eurasia, to the Middle East, to Asia, to Southeast Asia, eventually as far as modern-day Indonesia and China. Why did they leave? We don't know for certain. Climate change likely played a role. Ice ages alternated with warmer periods, shifting resources and habitats. Perhaps populations grew too large for local resources. Perhaps it was simply human curiosity, the urge to see what lies beyond the horizon. Imagine a group making this journey. Not a planned expedition, they didn't know they were migrating. They simply followed food, followed herds, followed rivers and coastlines. Each generation moving a little farther from where their parents had lived. The journey north and east was brutal. They encountered environments nothing like Africa. Colder climates, dense forests, new predators, new diseases, new foods they'd never seen. Many died. Most probably. Archaeological evidence is scarce, but genetic studies suggest that the populations that successfully colonized Eurasia were tiny, perhaps just a few hundred individuals who survived the journey.
But those who adapted thrived.
In Asia, Homo erectus learned to hunt different prey, giant deer, wild horses, primitive elephants. They developed new stone tools suited to different materials. They learned to create shelters from branches and hides, protecting themselves from cold and rain. They discovered that caves provided safety from both predators and weather. Archaeological sites in China show Homo erectus living in caves 800,000 years ago, with thick ash layers indicating sustained fire use. These caves became homes, not permanent but seasonal, places to return to. The beginning of a concept that wouldn't fully develop for hundreds of thousands of years. Territory, ownership, home. The footsteps of Homo erectus reached from Africa to Java, a distance of over 10,000 miles.
Walked.
Every single mile walked on foot, across deserts and mountains and rivers, carrying children and tools and fire. It took thousands of years, thousands of generations. Each generation walking a little farther, learning a little more, adapting to new challenges. And with each step, they were becoming more human. So, what became of them? What happened to Homo erectus, our ancient ancestors? They survived for an astonishing length of time. Homo erectus first appeared about 1.9 million years ago and persisted until roughly 140,000 years ago. Nearly 2 million years, making them one of the longest-lived species of human ancestor. But they didn't become us. Not directly. Around 700,000 years ago, populations of Homo erectus in Africa began to evolve. Their brains grew larger. Their bodies became more gracile. They developed more sophisticated tools. These populations would eventually give rise to Homo heidelbergensis and later to Homo sapiens, us. Meanwhile, Homo erectus populations in Asia continued relatively unchanged for hundreds of thousands of years. They became isolated, distinctive. Some scientists believe they represent separate species entirely, but eventually they disappeared, outcompete by later human species with larger brains and better technology, or absorbed through interbreeding. Recent genetic evidence suggests some mixing occurred. Yet their legacy remains. Everything we are, we owe to them. They gave us upright walking, freeing our hands for tools. They gave us fire, transforming our diet and our capabilities. They gave us migration, the restless urge to explore and settle new lands. They gave us social structures, families, communities, cooperation. They proved that humans could survive not through strength or speed, but through intelligence, adaptability, and cooperation. In museums around the world, you can see their footprints, preserved in volcanic ash or ancient mud. Footprints left by individuals walking 1 million years ago. Adults and children, side by side, heading somewhere, fleeing something, living. Those footsteps walked across continents, across ice ages and warm periods. Across a million years of struggle and triumph, those footsteps led to us. Every time you walk, you're continuing their journey. Every challenge you face and overcome, you're honoring their legacy. Every act of cooperation, of creativity, of curiosity, you're being Homo erectus, surviving against the odds. We are their children, separated by a million years, but connected by an unbroken chain of survival. Their DNA is in us. Their adaptations shape our bodies. Their discoveries form the foundation of our civilization. They lived on the edge of survival. Every footstep a victory. Every sunrise a gift. Every generation a miracle. And they won. Against predators, against climate, against extinction itself. They won because they walked. They adapted. They survived. And a million years later, we're still walking. Thank you for joining me on this journey through deep time. Remember, you carry their legacy in every step you take.